Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Kyber dropping you a brand new video today, and in today's video we're actually going to be taking a look at the best perks in Black Ops 4. However, I do want to apologize. I know I haven't uploaded in about a month, and I know that feels bad. However, we're going to be back on the grind right now, so let's get into it. Taking a look at slot 1, I think it's pretty obvious the two best perks for this one. Now I'm going to be using two perks, but on pretty much every perk slot there's only two I'm actually a massive fan of on each of them anyway. So going into, like I said, perk 1 has to be Tac Mask, is one of the best. What Tac Mask does, and I know a lot of you will be coming from older Call of Duty, so you just think it kind of negates the effects of concussion grenades, but it does a lot more than that. At the minute it reduces 9 bangs, it reduces the effect of flames, it reduces counter UAVs. There's a load of stuff that it actually reduces the effects of or completely counters. And the best way I can explain Tac Mask is that it helps like counter some of the really annoying stuff in this game, which there is a lot. You know, I really have been enjoying this game. Don't want to go too off topic, but there is a lot of things that can really just grind you and really upset me sometimes. So that's basically what it does. It doesn't even like completely remove that stuff. It just negates part of the effect a lot of the time. And let's say in 10 out of the 10 times where you would die, you might survive like 3 of them just by using Tac Mask. So yeah, that has been Tac Mask. Going on to our next perk, number 1 slot, that has to be Scavenger. Pretty obvious, you know, it's just picking up leftover ammo from your kills. This is just a standard perk. I think I've used it in pretty much every Call of Duty. However, like I said, these are very much like game specifics. So let's say you're playing S&D, there's literally no need to have Scavenger in S&D. So if you're playing S&D, use Tac Mask. It's pretty obvious. Going into the number 2 slot for your perks, the best one in my opinion is going to have to be Gun Ho. This is probably my favorite perk in the game, and the main reason I use this perk is just because it makes your sprint out time so much better. And for anyone that doesn't know what sprint out time is, it's as you're like sprinting, it's the time it takes you from going from that sprint to being ADS with your gun, which is usually one of the factors in whoever wins a gunfight, right? Especially if you're being quite aggressive. And this just absolutely like helps you so much. It makes it so much quicker. Definitely be using Gun Ho. This is like a must-have perk in my personal opinion. But yeah, Gun Ho, use it. It's probably, in my opinion, the best perk in the game. Going into the number 2 slot for perk number 2, we're going to be having Dexterity. This perk's great just because I jump shot around corners a lot personally. If you don't jump shot around corners a lot, then it might not be worth it for you. But I usually double up on perk 2, and I'll have Gun Ho and Dexterity, just because I would jump around corners loads, and it basically makes it so that it's easier to hit your shots as you're jumping around those corners and as you land. It makes the recoil a lot easier to kind of deal with. So Dexterity, a must have if you are jumping around corners a lot. Going into my number 3 slot for the perks, we actually have Dead Silence. Pretty much a bread and butter perk. What it does is it makes your footsteps quieter. This has been in COD since I can remember, you know. Everybody uses it. It's very common in S&D. I really enjoy it just because I don't like hearing my own footsteps, because it makes it a lot easier to hear your opponent's footsteps if you are yourself using Dead Silence. So that's personally why I use it. But one of the best perks, if you have a good headset and you want to use it, like most of the time you only see people use it in stuff like S&D, but I use it in like TDN Domination just because then I can hear everybody else's footsteps way easier. But S&D, it's definitely a must-have. But in like normal game modes, a lot of people don't use it, especially if you don't use a headset. There's not really a reason to use it in TDM if you don't have a headset. So yeah, that has been Dead Silence. Now going into our final perk, and this is another bread and butter perk, and that's just Ghosts. What this does is it just prevents you from appearing on the minimap if you are moving. Now just to quickly go a little bit more in depth on Ghosts, because it does change every COD pretty much. There's like minor tweaks to it. This version of Ghost, if you are not moving and you're stood still, it doesn't work. However, if you're stood still and you're either defusing a bomb, planting a bomb, or controlling like a score streak, then you still don't appear. But if you just stood still like corner camping with your gun, you're going to appear on the minimap. Just to also bring up, a lot of your perks are more or less based upon how you personally play. If you play very like if you go for flanks a lot, then Ghosts is a pretty good choice of a perk. But for me, I don't really make very wide flanks and get all the way behind the opponents like some people do. So I don't really use ghosts, you know. And like I said, a lot of this is just whichever game mode you're playing or based on your player style. So like if you're playing S&D, no need to really have scavenger at all. Just to quickly show you guys a class of mine, this is basically my go-to perk setup. I do double up on perk 2 by using gun ho and dexterity, just because I enjoy both those perks so much and they help me so much in game just because of how I play. It's definitely worth doubling up on those two for me. But for anyone that doesn't jump shot, like I already said, there's not much of a reason for you to use dexterity, so just stick to gun ho. Gun ho is definitely, like I said, in my opinion, the best perk in the game that you need to be using. So yeah, that pretty much concludes the video. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Go ahead and like the video, comment the video, comment your setup, comment your creator class, let me know what's going on, and yeah, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and thank you for watching everybody. Peace.